is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item D is approval of minutes. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the minutes from May 1st, 2023. Regular council meeting minutes will stand approved.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
Hearing none, they stand approved. Item E, citizen communication. If there's anyone in the audience or on WebEx that would like to address council, anything that is not on the agenda, you can type it in the chat, and we will check that periodically. Item F, reports from council committees. F1 is the electric committee met on May 8th, 2023 at 6:30, and we recommended to council to approve the PSCAF for May 2023 as 3-month average factor 0.1845, and JV2 is 0.020573. Also, we recommended to council to accept the recommendation of staff to increase the pole attachment fee per our electric service rules, those within 1 foot space from $7.50 to $11.70, and those greater than 1 foot from $12 to $18.71. In addition, add a $25 authorized attachment penalty. And we will address those in the good of the city later on. Item F2, the Water, Sewer, Refuse, Recycling, and Litter Committee did not meet on May 8th, 2023, due to lack of agenda items. And F3, the Parks and Rec Department, or committee did not meet on May 15th, 2023 due to lack of agenda items. And item F4, the Municipal Properties, Buildings, Land Use, and Economic Development Committee met tonight at 6:30. Molly?
Yes, we're going to recommend to council to not expand the NORA district to include the VFW. And then we're also going to recommend the law director to direct legislation to renew the NORA district. Should we add that on to the city tonight? Or?
Yep, we can
Okay.
add that on.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item H, introduction of new ordinances and resolutions. We have H1 is resolution number 022-23. A resolution authorizing Ross Durham as a delegate to represent the city of Napoleon, Ohio, as a member of the Board of Directors of the Ohio Municipal Electric Association, and declaring an emergency. And suspension is requested. Do you have a motion?
A motion.
Second.
Okay. Andy?
Yes, Council President, as discussed at the last meeting, Lori Seclair was our OMEA delegate from the city on the board. And this legislation will now name Ross as that delegate. And in addition, the previous legislation named Mayor Mazel as the alternate to that board. What we are able to do with this legislation is basically allow Ross to name the alternate to the board if he has to be absent from the board. So this does not name a particular person, but it does allow us the opportunity to have him name somebody in his absence.
All right, and you're requesting suspension?
That's correct. We will have to report this back to them by tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
Motion for suspension?
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll on suspension.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Andy, does it make sense for me to name an alternative now?
No, it really opens it up so that if somebody is not available,
Okay.
you can name somebody else. One of the reasons that we got away from naming a particular person is with Mayor Mossel currently on that. If at the end of the year, when at the end of the year, he is no longer mayor, then we would have to redo the legislation, name
Okay.
somebody else. So we just didn't want to get into that, and they allow us to go with you naming an alternate to the board.
Sounds good.
The solution there is just always go.
Yeah.
First meeting's Wednesday, so
Okay.
I'll be there.
All right, Marissa, please call the roll on the resolution.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, that has been passed on first read under suspension. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you all.
Item H2 is ordinance number 023-23, an ordinance authorizing the City of Napoleon, Ohio to proceed with the acquisition, construction, and improvement of certain public improvements in the City of Napoleon, Ohio, in cooperation with the Northwest Ohio Advanced Energy Improvement District, and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second?
Hey, Andy?
Yes, Council President, as you recall, last month you passed Resolution 011-23, which was the first piece of legislation in regard to this PACE grant. That piece of legislation allowed the Northwest Ohio Advanced Energy Improvement District to enter into the PACE agreement with Thermoduct or Oakwood Partners. This particular ordinance allows us to proceed and levy the special assessments.
All right. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, that will be moving on to second read. Item I, second readings of ordinances and resolutions. I-1 is resolution number 021-23, a resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds in excess of $50,000 for the purpose of purchasing a vehicle for the City of Napoleon Electric Department and to award said purchase to utility truck equipment and declaring an emergency.
Motion?
Second.
Okay, Andy?
Yes, there are no changes to this resolution.
Okay. How soon will we get the truck after we pass it and,
I think as soon as it's passed
right?
and approved, there is an emergency, so as soon as it's passed, we can
Okay.
get the truck.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yeah.
Okay, that will move on to third read. Item J, third readings of ordinances and resolutions. J1, an ordinance approving current June 22nd through February 23rd, 2023 replacement pages to the City of Napoleon codified ordinances.
Motion.
Second?
Hey, Andy?
Yeah, I haven't gone through these previously, but if you'd like, I can go through them page by page. And
We can read them all
review them.
tonight.
Yeah, there's like 79 of them, but
Pass.
other than that, there are no changes.
Hey, you don't get a vote.
No, but I can recommend, I recommend we not do that.
That's a great recommendation. Anybody have any
No changes.
questions or comments? Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, that is passed on third read. All right, moving on to item K, good of the city. K1 is discussion or action to review approval of the power supply cost adjustment factor for May 2023. PSCA 3-month average factor 0.01845 and JV2 0.020573. Okay, Andy?
Yes, there really is nothing significant about this month. And quite honestly, we had a power supply meeting with AMP a week and a half ago. And they said for the next year or so, things should remain pretty steady. Of course, unless there's some unforeseen issues. But one of the real positive things is, or not necessarily positive for the First Energy customers, but their rates will be spiking June 1st, and ours will still maintain right around 12 to 13 cents per kilowatt hour. They expect theirs to be around 18 cents per kilowatt hour. So we will be, again, significantly lower than the local IOU.
And not to put you on the spot and make you go too deep into it, but what have we done to put us in that position? Would you say that we're not going up that high?
I think it's the portfolio we have. We have a little bit of everything. We do have coal, Prairie State down in southern Illinois. It's a mouth-of-the-mind plant, so they can pull coal out of the ground and fire up the generators. So that cost is very low. That is a significant portion of our portfolio. We have wind, we have solar, we have hydro, 5 hydro plants. Is that correct, Kevin? I believe there's 5 of them along the Ohio River. So we have an extensive portfolio, and I think, and AMP does a great job of balancing those costs. We have Fremont Energy, which is a large natural gas fired turbine plant. So I think it's just a tremendous portfolio. And we control those assets. One of the biggest issue with First Energy is they don't own generation. They buy and they don't own their generation. So
Right.
we have control over that.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest
They
factor.
make their money with transmission.
They do. Their transmission and distribution, they make some money, but
Right.
they have to stay in business. But they have to pass along those costs.
Rich,
And if their
yeah.
generators are raising their prices, then they have to pay it. So,
This is just one of the benefits that we have from being part of the AMP community.
right.
Because I've had people before ask, why are we part of that, and is it worth it? I mean, this is a perfect example.
I would love to take a bunch of people down there and have them tour that facility. Their power control center is very impressive. Not everybody can get in there to view it. I had the opportunity to do it one time, and it's very, very controlled, but it's very impressive. I mean, they're constantly looking at these sources and balancing and, getting the best deal for everybody, so.
Right.
It's an impressive organization.
Thank you. Have any other questions or comments?
Council President, if I could just add, and
Yes.
there's nothing that we can predict in the future, but just as a reminder, this is the first time out of our 3-month average that we rolled out the December 3rd, December 24th storm that caused a lot of high energy costs. So this certainly, from going from 0.02 the last 3 months, now we're down to 0.01, 0.018. So
Right.
this just works itself out of the formula.
Right, thank you. Okay, we need a motion to accept the power supply cost adjustment.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
All right, that has been approved. Item K2, discussion or action, review and approval of participation in NLC Service Line Warranty Program. Okay, Andy?
Yes, Council President. This was actually brought to my attention a couple of months back by Jeff Rathke, and he wanted my opinion on it, and I felt like anything that Jeff would pass forward to me and didn't just reject was probably worth looking at. So I looked into it, and it's basically a homeowner insurance policy for their water and sewer lateral lines. It's a completely voluntary program. The homeowners have no obligation to purchase this. They would like to go and at no cost to the city and market their insurance program to the residents. It allows, what the contract allows is the use of the city branding or logo on their marketing materials. And the contract. I had law director review the contract. He had some issues with it. We sent it back. They corrected every one of the issues, returned it to us. And now I would ask that council approve moving forward. Is something that, in my position as city manager, I could have just moved forward with this. I didn't want to. I'd feel more comfortable if council knew about it and just approve me moving forward with allowing this program to our residents, or for our residents. Again, we get, I don't know if I mentioned it, I might have glossed over it. Every time they sign a contract, a resident signs a contract with this program, we get 50 cents per month from that as a kickback for the use of our logo. So if they sign a water, just for the water line laterals, that's one program. If they sign it for both, and that's two, so we get $1 a month from each one of those. So
Where would those funds go then?
that's a good question. I hadn't thought that far ahead. Kevin, where would those funds go?
I would have to review it more before I give a proper answer.
I would just assume we would do something with it that is gonna benefit the city
I mean,
anyway.
unless the contract specifies that it needs to be used for a certain purpose, then it would probably go into the general fund.
Okay.
But I'd have to review the contract.
It doesn't say nothing like it.
No.
So I'd say unless we earmark it for something, it would go in the general fund.
Okay. The other question, have we talked to any other cities? Do we know of any cities that?
I have
Use
not
this.
spoken to any other cities. There was a list of cities in one of the, there, right there.
Okay. I think it sounds like a great idea. It's just, it'd be nice if we know some people from any of these cities that maybe we can just ask and see, how things went with it.
Yeah, the Village of White House would be interesting to me, since they're the closest ones, to see what they have.
Right. And how long would the contract be?
I believe it's annual.
Okay.
I think that's correct. It's been a couple of weeks since I looked at it, but I think it's, it renews
I think it's great. All right, so we just need a motion to approve.
Correct. Do we want to do that, or do you want to try and find out some more information, what some of these other cities have said, the good and bad?
I think with, our city manager that could have done this on his own and doing all the research that he's already done and just bringing it to us, I will go with what Andy is recommending, I would say.
And I will be happy to look into it further with some of these cities. If I have any red flags whatsoever, I will either bring them to your attention or just scrap it altogether.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All right, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, thank you for that, Andy, appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Item K3, discussion or action to accept the recommendation to staff to increase the pole attachment fee per our electric service rules, those within 1 foot space from $7.50 to $11.70, and those greater than 1 foot from $12 to $18.71. In addition, add a $25 unauthorized attachment penalty. And we need a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation. Do you have some input on this, Andy?
I do. Yeah, this went before the the electric committee last week. And the reason it went is because we had 4 different rates for 5 different contracts. I wanted to know how the committee felt on a rate for this latest contract with M2S Communications. After looking through the electric rules, I discovered where back in 2005, the rate was set, at, as you discussed, $7.50, and it allowed for it to increase by the consumer price index every year, and which is how we arose, or how we arrived at the number that you have there. I initially felt like we should update that legislation, or that, the electric rules. I don't know if we have to or not. I mean, it's built in. It would just basically update them to the latest price and still put the CPI adjustment in there. It's certainly up to council whether we want to go that direction or not. In addition to that, one of the things that was discussed with Greg was the unauthorized attachment penalty, and he felt like there should be something, and we decided on a $25 fee. Well, after looking into the contract a little deeper, I discovered where there's already a penalty for unauthorized attachments, and it's far greater than $25. It's $150 plus the attachment rate times 5 years, or up to 5 years. So it is a significant penalty. We just have to choose to go after it if indeed we have that. He says they don't always do it. You know, they get busy with things and then they don't go through, follow up with billing. So that's already built in as well. So while it came to you to be approved to move forward with additional new legislation, I'm not 100% sure that's necessary, but I'll let that be your call.
I like the idea of the harsher penalty myself. I don't want to encourage anybody to put stuff on our poles. Oh, it's $25. It's a little more than that.
Yeah, and it's already built into the
Yeah, it's already built
contract.
in. I'm fine leaving it as it is. Updating these numbers, you know, because that's what it is, except the $25. I think to leave the harsher penalty in there. That's,
Were these current contracts written before that contract was put into place?
I don't have an answer for you on that. I know they have been around for a long time.
Okay.
It-
I think that $25 penalty number just simply came off of this page.
I think so too.
So I do like the harsher penalty there, for sure. It makes me question why these are only 25. But I think it would be beneficial just to go ahead and update the prices in that current, is it agreement, contract, whatever it is. Just so there's no variation on what the CPI as of today
Okay.
is. And then maybe it's something we review every 5 years
All right.
and just update that number. But Billy, if that adds a whole lot of work to your plate, I could certainly be talked out of that opinion.
No, we'll figure it out. If you would still direct me to draft the legislation, and if no legislation, after I review everything, if no legislation is necessary, then I will bring it, obviously.
Okay.
If I can have that direction, then if it is necessary, I can simply bring it to the next council meeting.
And it would be just to update it to the current numbers.
Right.
Okay.
Did we discuss one other thing in the electric committee meeting? If the person that owns the pole, if their pole was damaged and they're not repairing it, we could repair it,
Yes.
replace it, and then charge them?
That is also, in the contract, there's reattachment due to pole replacement, and that is time and material plus 10%.
Okay,
And that too is in the contract.
good. Okay.
When I put these standard contracts together, I want to say 6 and a half, 7 years ago, it was one of the first things that I did when I got here. We were using a very good example that, and I forget which municipality helped me draft this, but it was put together, I think, it was put together in a way that was supposed to be all encompassing, essentially, that was going to be prohibitive for certain nonsense like attaching things to our goals without any sort of authorization. And it was pursuant to the numbers that we were given at the time. So I think the contract is, well, it's a couple of years old. It's as updated as it could possibly be, give or take maybe 1 or 2 things. And so the contracts are fairly solid, I think. Making any changes to the contracts might, I could certainly do it, and if we need to change the numbers as far as what we're charging, then that's just fine. But, getting into the terms, I guess I would want some time if we're gonna change any terms.
Yeah, in reviewing the contract myself, I think it's pretty rock solid. I mean, it covers everything. It would just be going back to the electric rules and updating those numbers in the electric rules to reflect the latest numbers, based on the CPI number from 2005 to today.
And if we are gonna change, if we are gonna make changes to the electric rules, then we do have to have legislation.
Okay.
Wasn't this brought about then to try and put a little bit of control on the people that were trying to put G5 wherever they would like? Because they could put G5 on some of these poles. Wasn't that part of the reason we did this?
I think so, yeah. It's been a couple of years.
Mhm.
Sorry, it's
Yep.
been, like I said. a few
I'm pretty
years.
for
I think you're right,
G5
Dave.
was,
Yeah.
Yeah, they just
Right.
want to put G5 kind of wherever they want to. 'cause
Right.
yeah, but
we
this
can't-
was done to prevent that.
The home
Yes.
rule kind of, no, you can't.
Right. Okay, so we just need a motion to just update the,
So if it's just, if we have to get into the engineering rules or to the, the electric rules, then I will have to bring legislation forward. If there are other updates that don't require amendments to engineering or electric or other rules, then, and they can be made without doing something like that, then it won't require legislation. So we'll review it, we'll make sure that we do it correctly, and we'll bring legislation forward if we must.
okay.
But I would ask that you direct me to do that.
I would make that motion, however I want to word that.
That,
I'll second that.
well, it's a motion to bring forth legislation if required.
If required.
Mhm. Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Sure.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, item K4, discussion or action to accept a donation of a 1,000 gallon tank from Fowler Farm Center Incorporated to the Napoleon Fire Department. Okay, Andy.
Chief, would you like to handle this?
Sure.
Hey, welcome, Chief Bowen.
Hi there. So this was a 1,000-gallon tank that Fowler Farm Services was gonna decommission and throw away. One of the guys that works there I know very well. I reached out to him a couple of years ago, was trying to get a nurse tank to simulate anhydrous ammonia leaks. Unfortunately, they couldn't get us one of those, but this will be a comparative to that. So we'll be able to do different trainings with it out at our training facility at Oakwood. It had no monetary value to them. They were just going to take it to the landfill because it's made out of poly. So we'll just utilize it till we're done with it, and we'll dispose of it at that time.
Great, thank you.
So we're gonna find a way to keep it on the ground, right? It's probably light enough to get blown by.
It's big enough, it's not gonna go anywhere.
Okay.
We are gonna make a way to, because it does not sit on any running gear, we are gonna make a way that we can move it around. So
Okay.
we have different classes, we can bring it towards the front, and then we can store it in the back, out of sight, out of mind.
Awesome.
In the meantime.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, I have a motion to accept.
Motion?
Second.
Hey, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, that has been approved. Item K5, discussion and action to approve PC 23-03, conditional use permit to operate a restaurant, full service, 2525 Oakwood Avenue, Maya Sweet Treats. Mr. Mayor.
Yep, so Maya's right now is in the Emporium, and they want to move out to where Top Dog is right now at 2525 Oakwood. And there's, then instead of just having just ice cream, then you can have supper and ice cream or vice versa. So that's what they want to do. And my understanding is it passed. I was not there for the meeting, but my understanding is that it passed that night, so.
Are these establishments owned by the same individual?
I believe they are.
They are.
Yes.
They are.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? We need a motion to approve.
A motion?
Second.
Hey, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Okay, that's been approved. Item K6, discussion or action, Palmer Ditch Pumping Station upgrades. Andy, or?
Yeah, I will pass this along to Chad.
Sure. In the 2023 budget, it was approved to make some upgrades to the Palmer Ditch Pump Station, including the pumps and some valving. However, it was mistakenly omitted from the master bid ordinance. We're requesting legislation to be prepared by the law department that would allow us to place this project out for bids. We're currently in the design phase of the project, working with Huff Consulting, and we're hoping to have the bid package ready to come to council sometime next month. And since it's over 50,000, we wouldn't be able to do it with quotes. We'll have to follow the bidding process. So we're just asking for the proper legislation to allow us to advertise for bids.
Chad, can you help us? How was the budgeted amount?
116,000.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Anyone need a motion?
No motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item K7, discussion or action, change order number 6 for the 2021 wastewater treatment plant improvement project per the contract document in the amount of $999,925. Nope,
99,000.
yes, 99,000. You'd think it'd work at a bank or something, might know how to read numbers. About $99,925.33.
Sounds better.
It just saved us a lot of money. Andy?
Yeah, once again, I will pass it along to my professional staff.
Well, now this one should be a piece of cake.
Right, yeah.
We just reduced.
10%.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 2021 wastewater treatment plant improvements project is still ongoing. We've been working down there for close to 2 years now. One problem we ran into, and we've had it on other projects in the past, obviously with this project being $14 million, it's a larger scale. During the course of the project, material costs have increased greatly. On the project, we have roughly 3,000 feet of pipe, over 500 different fittings. Fittings are very expensive. In the contract documents, it outlines if there's a significant price increase, and it is also in there for significant price decreases, however, we've never seen them. If there's a significant price increase, the contractor can make a claim for those increased costs. When they originally submitted those costs to us, they submitted those to Brad Meyer and myself. They were around $154,000. We reviewed everything they submitted, found some places where their numbers weren't quite accurate, some numbers that they simply didn't purchase it when they had the correct PO. They could have ordered it earlier and saved themselves some money. So we took those off, but in the end, it is staff's belief that they're entitled to this additional amount of $99,925.33 for the material price increases they've seen for all the pipe and fittings on the job. And this, if approved, hopefully approved, this can be rolled into the low interest loan that we have through Depot, which is funding this project. Currently, I believe we're around, $300,000 in change orders on a $14 million project. So we're still, percentage-wise, pretty good, and if we add this in, that'll push us up close to 4, but we're still at a good percentage of the project. We have quite a bit of project to go, probably another 6 months, but we don't foresee a material price increase affecting any other piece of this project. It's primarily just been with pipe.
They can't come back later and say, we want some more, can they?
We have it written into the change order, which they've already signed.
Okay.
But the city has not. It's written in there that this is the final
Okay.
for this issue.
All right.
Could I add it?
Yep. And at least it's not 999,000, so we're good there.
You did that on purpose.
You're right. All right, need a motion for the change order.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Okay, that has been approved. I'm gonna add an item here, number 8 will be for the municipal property discussion we had earlier about expanding the Nora district. I'll turn it over to Billy a little bit if you wanna recap.
In discussing the potential expansion to the VFW, and it is my understanding that the committee did not recommend any expansion. And in looking at this topic, I was reminded, thankfully, that we do need to renew every 5 years. And this is actually the perfect time to renew our NORA. And so I would ask that council direct me to draft the legislation necessary to renew the NORA for an additional 5 years. In the meantime, I'm 99% certain that one of our local rules that can be changed by council limited patrons to 1 cup at a time. I will make sure, look back to the rules, make sure that it's not statutory or anything like that, that it was something that council decided don't like to do. And give you that option when we bring the legislation forward next time to potentially amend our local rules, if council so decides, to allow patrons to carry 2 cups at a time. I know this was a topic of discussion previously, and council went back and forth a bit, if I do recall, about 5 years ago, as to whether or not to allow 1 or 2. It was ultimately decided that 2 might be too many, and it was limited to 1, and that's how the rules were drafted 5-ish years ago. If council would like to change that, obviously, that's not that big of a change, and that's something that we can do really quickly.
Yes, Steve.
I'm just curious, if I could just have the highlights, why did you make the determination it's not recommended to include the VFW?
I don't know, Andy, did you want to pull up the map?
Yeah, this, roughly, the green is the current Nora district. It is, in most cases, on just one side of the street in the perimeter. Down the center of the district, I keep pointing to it. Wow.
I can see it just fine.
Okay, so, down the center of the district, it's on both sides of the street, for the most part. But here it is just on the
Inside.
inboard side.
Yes.
The entire district is surrounded by commercial properties or religious institutions, with the exception of 2 homes over here. Those are the only 2 residential homes. By extending it from Shelby Street down north on Perry to the VFW, you now take in 8 additional residences. I guess 9 if you count the one across from the VFW. But you're going right through a residential neighborhood. I believe that was the deciding factor.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Just need a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation.
A motion.
Second?
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
If that legislation's going through, is it gonna be for the 2 cups or the 1 cup, or doesn't that have
It's
to
gonna
be?
be drafted as is, and the rule currently is 1 cup.
Do we want to change that to the 2 cup?
I don't know if we do. I'll be bringing forth the renewal legislation as is, and council can certainly
We can
Do that at
We
that
can
point.
amend
have a
it.
discussion at that point and then decide what to do, and it should be easy.
Council President, just quick research I have, and Billy, you certainly would do this. Right now, it says up to 16 ounces. So it doesn't necessarily say cups, so that could be our holdup there.
Up to
Is that
16
the state,
ounces.
or is that the local?
On our website, it says carry up to 16
Yeah.
ounces, but
I see.
I don't know, I've not reviewed the state enough in this 5 seconds that I've done to
In
do that.
the application that Joel submitted 5-ish years ago, the rules, if I recall, and it's been some time, I think it did say one plastic cup
Mhm.
or container, something like that. I don't recall the number of ounces that were allowed
Yeah.
to cover or anything like that, but, if I do recall the process from last time, it was, that was a local decision, and not mandated from the state. I don't wanna give you that answer yet,
Right.
because I'm not entirely sure. I'm 99% sure, but again, yeah, I think that's something that council can choose to change if it likes, and we can certainly do that at the very next council meeting.
You know, when we did that 5+ years ago, whenever we did it, we were very unsure, because basically the city of Toledo had done it, and then it was like us.
Yeah.
So we're like,
Yeah,
let's just kind of
try
see how
with
this
one,
goes.
Yeah.
Because there was a 3-month review, and then a 6-month, and then it went to annual, and then to 5 years. So it
Right.
was, we tried to err on the side of let's not,
Caution.
yeah, so that's what we did at first, and then
So,
I think it's a good idea if we can do 2 cups, but, so we'll see.
40-ounce big one.
No,
I believe at the time that was set up, it was 1 16-ounce cup.
116, yeah, so.
Okay.
We, you know, that's stuff we can look at. If we can change it, right, if it's not a state statute, and we can look at it, we'll bring legislation,
I'll
like
bring you
Billy
that
says.
option
Yep,
at the next council meeting, and you can go from there.
Yep, easy.
Sounds good. All right. Now we'll go around the table here and start with Kevin.
I have nothing to add this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Molly?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay. Ross?
Nothing for me.
And Mr. Mayor?
Andy, we talked a little bit about the electric rates a little bit. I just wonder when's the last time we did a rate study? I know rates are gonna be kind of stable for the next year, but just wonder if, when's the last time we did one? And is this the time to start thinking about putting it in the 2024 budget, if there is one, so,
It was either 2 or 3 years ago.
okay. Okay,
I have Roxanne, typical Roxanne form.
Right.
She heard us talking this morning.
yeah,
I turn around and there's a stack of information on my desk in regards to rate studies, electric
Okay.
rate studies.
okay. I don't need an answer now, I'm just
I
kind of
believe it was
curious,
2
so.
or 3 years ago that
Okay.
we last did this.
Pretty sure it's the year after I started council,
Year after you started?
about 3 years ago.
3 years ago? Okay. I don't know how often we do those, if it's every 5 or every 3 or something, but it's something so if it's next year, we do it in 2024, it'd be 4 years. I'm just curious if that's something we ought to look at or not and see where we are. So just, again, not looking for an answer tonight, just kind of investigate between now and
Right.
the mid-June or July meeting, whatever,
And
so.
I shared with the mayor this morning, and I believe I even mentioned it earlier, that really for the next year, AMP expects rates to remain very stable, pending
Yeah.
unforeseen circumstances.
Don't we have our resolution set for annual increases through next year yet?
I don't know, so that's kind of question I just want to figure out. So again, I'm not asking for an answer tonight.
For electric?
I'm just looking for,
I don't know about that.
yeah.
That I'm not familiar with.
Let's take a
What
look.
we do for water sewer.
With
Yeah.
Water sewer, we do, yeah,
Yeah.
but electric.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious, because this is the time to start thinking about if it's a big project for next year to take a look at that. Kevin, this proliferation that I think every city across this great country of ours is having is more and more residential homes are being turned into Airbnbs and Verbos and those kinds of things. Is it possible at the next finance and budget meeting to look at those rules to make sure we're collecting the right amount of
Yes,
income that we're supposed to collect from those kind of, are they hotels, are they not? What do we classify them as? Are they short-term stay? I have no idea, but I'm guessing when the last time I looked at those rules, they were not as prolific as they are now. It might be something finance and budget can look at, if that's possible.
we can certainly add that.
Okay,
We do have a lodging tax advisory and control board.
let's take a look at the finance and budget first, and we can take it to them, we can take it to them, so.
Yeah, because currently, right now, anything under five or more units should be charging the motel hotel tax.
Okay,
So that's what we would have to look at. I talked to our chamber director earlier today to
Yeah.
see if there's any other local communities that, he says there's a lot of discussion,
Right,
but no one's, in this area has enacted anything.
okay,
Just for reference, we collect around $133,000 last year for that tax.
okay,
Little Google searches that I did, there's 4 to 6 places in town that I found anywhere between $40, I think one was $120 per night. You know, if you do some quick math, because our tax is 3%, you know, we could gain anywhere between another additional $2 to, I'll say $10,000 on a high end.
right.
But to keep in mind, I mean, as they grow, it's certainly a discussion point, because they would draw away from those that are paying the tax.
Right, right, that's what I make sure is that if we're owed it, we gotta make sure that we got the things in place to make sure that we can collect it, I guess, was one question. And again, I'm looking for an answer tonight, but I appreciate the research already, I just, think it'd be nice to look at the Finance and Budget Committee, look at it first.
I mean, it's certainly something that when last time these were discussed, that Airbnbs were not
What I
prevalent.
think, yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. The, Republican Party, I think, meets, next Tuesday, right, 23rd?
Yes,
At 7
yes.
at the Commissioners' Meeting Room for Laura's replacement, so. Chief Bowen, I don't put you on the spot, but can you give us a quick rundown of the fire we had in town, real quick?
Yeah, it's started in the garage, undetermined by the marshal's office and our office, because there was nothing left in the garage. By the time the PD got there, they were obviously first there because they're already on the road. It extended into the house, so once our engine got there, they focused all efforts on the house itself. And we were able to save a good portion of that house in that amount of time we were there, to the point where they were able to go in and get plenty of belongings out. The 10-year-old room was completely untouched by fire, had a little bit of smoke damage, but they were able to pull clothes out. They'd have to launder them, but personal belongings, they were able to get a lot of that stuff out. But it was a long night, but everybody did their job, and the efforts of that first-in engine is what made the difference there.
Did you, I think I read something about there was a dispatcher that did a really good job that night?
Absolutely.
Yourself or?
Yeah, dispatcher Wickham did a phenomenal job. There was things that we normally have to ask for, that we're used to asking for, that when we did, it was already done. She already had it taken care of. Our automatic aid, from the roughly a minute it took me to get out of the house and start heading this way, when she was giving me updated information, our automatic aid was already being dispatched.
Okay.
So that is a phenomenal job on her part. I was telling Assistant Chief Legg here that when I asked her to contact the Red Cross, I never had to talk to them. She gave out the information needed for them.
Awesome.
When I asked her to contact the Marshal's office, she knew that, you know, we didn't need them tonight, you know, then gave them my number to call me in the morning. There was just a lot of things she did behind the scenes that,
Right.
like, that position goes unrecognized a lot. But when you have that confidence in there and you know everything's getting done, it makes our guys rest a little easier too.
Yeah. That just goes to her, but also the training that she's received,
Absolutely.
being in the dispatch, and never know what's gonna happen other than that phone, so
It
that's.
helps a little bit that Jayla's got a little fire background in her too.
That does, absolutely
That
does,
makes a big
so,
difference
yeah.
there, so.
Awesome.
But not to take anything away from what
No.
Chief Mack has done with his
Right.
dispatchers, but, yeah, it was a good effort by everybody.
Officer Limpscomb was the first one there and banged on the door and got that family out.
I believe, yeah, I don't know who the first officer was, but he did, I know that the police department did wake the family, and as they were coming out is when their smoke detectors started going off.
Okay.
So when they extended into the house, it went straight up the siding into the soffit, into the attic. So it was actually burning above them for a period of time. As you can see from Council President Val Ruki's picture that he shared,
Yeah.
it was a good.
Big fight, big fire.
It was a
Yeah.
big fire,
Yeah.
yeah. But we were able to get it stopped and to where they can salvage some stuff. Whether they tear the house down or not, I've seen houses that have had worse damage that they've rebuilt.
Right.
And I've seen houses that have had less damage that they've you know, laid flat. So,
Right.
you know, that depends, but they're at least gonna be able to salvage some of their belongings.
Awesome. Okay. That's a scary night for everybody, but that's the best result of a bad a bad circumstance, I
And
guess.
especially at 1:30 in the morning when if it comes in, if the family's still sleeping inside and it's extending to the house.
Right.
And, yeah.
I think, am I stealing your thunder talking about Memorial Day? I know you
No,
got
go
one
ahead.
too. Memorial Day is
29th.
29th, thank you very much. As per usual, Memorial Day program begins at 10 a.m. at the river. We'll do the wreath laying for the service members lost at sea. Then we'll make our way up to the Veterans Memorial up there for the main service. That'll be on the 29th. And I'm assuming that they'll need a head count, so we put on chairs. So I'm one. So two can make it. Yeah, Dr. Dave?
Not sure.
Not sure. So we got three for sure.
Four.
Four.
I'll let you know.
Okay, and Molly?
I think that's my holiday to work.
Okay.
So,
All right, so we've let them know. So four for sure and maybe five. Am I saying that right? Or six? Okay. So.
I'll just add to that, to anyone that has not been to this, you're missing a lot.
Yeah.
It's very moving. It's awesome that we do this in our community. I think I've gone, other than during COVID, probably 5 times now, 6 times now, and yeah, it's on my calendar every year.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I cannot.
Okay, that's fine, yep, I just, that way they sit the right way in chairs and they can make sure they recognize the right people, so. Congressman Latta was in town and he spent some time with the staff and he sent along a nice letter, so I'm gonna read this from Congressman Latta. Thank you for meeting with me during my visit to Napoleon on Tuesday, May the 2nd. Appreciate the insights provided during discussions on a range of issues that impact the Napoleon area. It is important for me to obtain firsthand knowledge from elected officials, employers, and other community stakeholders so they may best represent the 5th Congressional District and the U.S. House of Representatives. Please know I will have our discussions in mind as we work through legislation in the 118th Congress. Again, I'm grateful for the hospitality during my visit. Please don't hesitate to contact me if I may be in assistance in the future with any matter involving the federal government. Sincerely, signed, Bob Latta. So I just appreciate staff spent some time, and Andy let me cut in on the meeting there, so I really appreciate the time. And I thought it was very good for the congressman to hear kind of some of the issues that we have. Pass it down to Andy so he can share the staff tomorrow. So that is all I had. So thank you.
Dan?
Yeah, Safety and Human Resources will meet next Monday. We have 2 items on the agenda, a quarterly meeting with the townships, as well as a review of an agreement for the Northwest Ohio Special Response Team. Mr. City Manager, are you okay moving this up to 7 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Unless you have do you have,
We don't have finance and budget, do we?
No, I will ask that we cancel that.
so that's okay with you, Andy? That would be a different time.
Yes, sir.
So we'll go 7 o'clock and we'll notify the townships if they haven't already been. Okay. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Ken?
Is there been progress on the disc golf?
Don't have an answer for you, Ken. I will get one for you.
I just drove out there the other day, I didn't see anything going on.
Are you ready to put a team together, Ken?
I was
'Cause
about to
wanna
say, I
play.
didn't know you were an average player.
I will find out.
I'll join the team with you.
I don't have anything else.
Dr. Dave?
Wastewater and recycling, garbage pickup will be meeting, just to have a touch on. We haven't had a meeting in a long time, just to touch base and see how things are going and get an update. That's
So
all
we're
I
on
got.
June 12th then, Dr. Dave?
Say what?
We're on June 12th?
Sure.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Billy?
Just asking for a couple minutes of your time to discuss pending litigation.
Thank you. Andy?
I have nothing.
All right. Could I have a motion to go into executive session for pending or imminent litigation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, could I have a motion to come out of executive session for pending or imminent litigation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And no action taken there. Moving on to item M, approve payment of bills and financial reports. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the payment of bills and financial reports shall stand approved.
I do have one question. Under the financial report, when I was reading through the section, it came to Efficiency Smart, and there was a there was a line, a couple underneath it, about a penalty that was paid for something on a report. Was a negative amount. I wondered what that was.
For a check that's being cut, or on,
I don't, it was one of the reports that I read when I read the, what was gonna be coming up for today.
It's not in
Was
this.
it a negative number?
Yes, it was a negative number.
Was it significant negative?
No, it wasn't huge. I was just kind of curious, but it was under the Efficiency Smart. About there was 3 or 4 lines, Efficiency Smart, this, and this, and then there was one and it said Efficiency Penalty. I thought it said something like that. I thought I would see it in here. I did not see it in here.
it's probably on our invoice that you saw that
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I don't have it here in front of me. Let me get you an answer for that, what
Sure.
that would be for.
It wasn't an exceptionally large amount. I was just curious.
Okay, yeah, I'll get an answer for you on that, because it was probably on our monthly AMP bill,
Okay.
because they list out items.
Okay.
One of the things that you did see on that information is that we did receive a check for around $85,000 from our JV5, and that we put that in our formula as a negative amount. But what that is from the sale of power that is above and beyond what we were required to take. So that was a good thing.
Right.
But, so let me check and see what that is on that, on the invoice, and I'll get back to you.
Just out of curiosity, while I'm still, is our hydro still outperforming what we were expecting? Because remember last time we talked, the hydro was doing better than they expected.
Hydro's doing quite well.
Well, and that's what JV5, Joint Venture 5, is the hydro, so yes.
Okay.
So when we receive those credits or money back to us,
Yep.
that means that it is going quite well.
Okay.
They're
Yes.
meeting or exceeding their expectations, and it all has everything to do with water levels.
Right.
And we've had a relatively good spring, or winter and spring, and they've done quite well, so.
Yeah, hydros actually do poor when there's too much water.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the high water that kills
It's the
them.
high water.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. That's all I have.
Okay. All right, so they are approved. Have a motion for adjournment?
A motion.
A second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
We are adjourned.